I forgot to put the pictures up. Hey, how you doing? This is John, and welcome to John's Long Box. I'm here with Paul Thayer. How you doing? Oh, your mic is
I
off.
am doing fantastic. How are you?
Yeah, your mic was off. You turned your mic off. I thought it was me.
Rookie mistake.
Uh, I'm trying to put the banners back on. I'm trying to do lots of things. I don't know what I'm doing.
But we are here. We are live.
Yeah, you're watching me mistake live. You see, I'm making mistakes live. There we go.
Boom, that's me. Project Naosis.
Yes. How you doing? How's you? It's been a while. I think you're gonna get the frequent flyer award. I think you're my guest that's been on the most.
I need this. I need this confirmed, and I want to earn it, and then I have it, and then it's mine. But yeah, I've been pumping out these last 2 years. We really are all in on this business, and I launched 3 campaigns last year, and I'm doing 4 campaigns this year at least, and we're bombing them out, and I'm traveling. I'm trying to get this book known and sold and get things moving.
Yeah, and you get them out quick. Is it all the same artist?
Since episode 2, it's been Samuel Marquise and colorist Prasad Rao. So I've had the same team since episode 2, and they also did the Omega 2090 prequel series together. That's why I switched them on to episode 2. And we've been consistent, but I make sure. So we did Project Naosis episode 5 in November to December, and we fulfilled it in February. While that was being fulfilled, or even before, like during the campaign, I already had 15 pages of lines and inks done for episode 6. Right, I never launch a campaign without all the lines and inks being done. So I honestly wanted to launch this one three weeks before in March, but not everything was done yet. So I wanted to wait until everything was done, so we know there's going to be no holdbacks, and then we'll be shipping this one out in July.
Right. So you got 6 Project Naosis books, a Crimson Pain book. What else? I'm blanking out on other.
So yeah, we have Project Naosis 0 to 6.
Right.
We have Omega 2090 1 and 2, and now we have the Crimson Pain one shot. So this is our 10th Kickstarter. We've done 10 Kickstarters, 2 Indiegogos, and 1 Fund My Comic. We fulfilled everything that we have.
Yes, you do.
So
yes.
In record-breaking time, I choose 3 months to just be nice and be biased about it. But like 3 months, because I know I'm definitely going to print them for San Diego Comic-Con before that. So like that is the mark I want everyone receiving their books for the end of July.
Would it be fair to say that you do most of your sales at conventions rather than online?
Yeah, it's night and day.
Yeah.
So this is a great example. Like, we're building the online presence, but we're at I think we're at 108 backers right now, or 107. I probably sold 80 trade paperbacks just last weekend.
Nice.
And then I have single issues and all that stuff. So we're moving it. A lot of people just like buying conventions. A lot of people just like buying on Kickstarter. A lot of people just like buying on Indiegogo, and everyone has their, market. I really didn't even know what all the online thing was, until I made Project Naosis episode 1. So I'm trying to break into that field. Our biggest Kickstarter ever was our last one. We did 4,421, and we had 149 backers or 50 backers. And this one already in the first day, we had the most money we ever raised. The second day was record breaking, and now we're just building on top of it. Out of the 107 backers, 87 of them are returning backers. So we have the people ready to roll. So
yeah, and I know you like when I say this, but it's like 90s image comic, but well written.
Appreciate that. Appreciate that a lot. And high quality, super high quality. Yeah. We got the nice stuff. Single issues too. And this is a big one. This is our 10th Kickstarter. So something I learned is we got to get to that money, and the money is who's Crimson Pain, and that's what this campain is all about. We're gonna
Crimson Pain, out who he is. He's the big baddie. He's like the motivating force behind the comic. He's the Dr. Doom or the Thanos or whatever. He's the main trouble.
He's definitely Thanos level of power wise, because he's a super speedster. He killed 90 million people in episode 0 and all the superheroes, and now we've been building up, for all these issues to fight him. They fought him in the last issue. You got to check that out. And then this one, we're going to find out who he is and also see the aftermath of the things that was previous. I'm really excited about this book. I've had Easter eggs in this book for a long time, teasing what this is. And we're finally getting to it. And it's really exciting. This was an idea that wasn't going to be told till like the end of the story. And now we're doing it on episode 6. So
why is that? You just couldn't wait to tell, or it just makes logical sense?
So originally I was even, you're supposed to find out later on, just really through talking. That's really how it was always set up to be. Like, you're just like, oh, he's this person. But now great advice is from, like, you know, how Robert Kirkman got to the money with Omni-Man, right? He said Omni-Man, who he is, what he is, earlier than waiting to the end. And I thought the same thing too. And I think a lot of people want it. Like, everyone, I do polls at the end of the Kickstarter, like you would know, and I say, who's your favorite character? And I would say 60% are choose Crimson Pain as their favorite character. Like, people love seeing what he's doing and what he has to offer. So I wanted to show that to build the perspective more as we're growing this series. And it also extended. It was supposed to only be 12 issues, and now we're looking at 35. So
that's hell of a change. Yeah, you got to do that. You got to you know, what do they say? Read the room, test the waters. You know.
Yeah.
Because for my second issue of Heroic Tales, I wasn't going to have the Patriarch in it, and people like, no, but I like the Patriarch. You got to. And I'm like, oh man, I'm going to be shooting myself in the foot if I don't give the fans what they want. You know, chase away the. So you know. So I just pulled up
giving more information like then later. Like, it would happen later on, but like I wasn't planning to do it this soon but it needs it for the story to grow. So like, I'm never like dying on my script. Like, I'm down to change things.
You have to, yeah.
In the sense of making the story better and improving with the writing as my material goes on. Like, I definitely think episode 5 is like the best thing I've ever done. And I think episode 6 tops it. And I want to try to do that with every issue, trying to get better and better with my skills and with my team skills, and trying to just build something special.
Cool. Yeah, I dig it. Now to get a little nerdy on you, why did you pick him to be a speedster? Crimson Pain.
Because speedster is the threat that is really that Superman level threat. Like, if someone was really a speedster and really wanted to be a grade A piece of shit, they would win.
Yeah.
And especially if there's not other speedsters. And right now in Project Naosis, there's no other speedsters. So he's the only speedster that is known, and he is armored up. He knows his moves. He knows what he has to do, and he's highly trained, and he eliminates all these people. And as soon as you think it can't get even worse than that, now we're building up to he has an army. He has a lot of things that we didn't know that he was been planning as this book has gone on. So, because if we start at 2090, and right now we're at 2095.
So 5 years have passed since issue 0.
I'm just gonna double check so I don't murder this.
But I agree with you. Like, Flash in the comic books should be unbeatable. How
2095. So we're 5 years later from anyone even seeing Crimson Pain. And now he's here and has the army. Like, he's building this thing up, you know?
Right. Like I was saying, think about like somebody that fast. Like, if the Flash was a bad guy, nobody could stop him. You know, like,
especially if he wasn't wearing tights and he didn't give a shit. The whole point is, like, do you care about consequences in a sense of for your task? So like, if you truly don't care if this person hears you or not, and you're just going to beat the living hell out of them, you're going to win, you know? And if you hesitate, which is what happened in episode 0, Odysseus hesitated. He was injured. He didn't finish the job, and they thought they won. And, you know, he died. And same with everybody else that really gets in front of him. The closest we've ever seen him get his run for his money was in the previous issue. And I do include some stuff to see the previous pages in that, because I'm trying to show people as much as possible. I have been posting a lot more spoiler stuff too on my Twitter and Instagram, just because I'm really trying to get people involved and seeing, like, every 10 pages, there's moments that happen that are big, you know, even every 5, there's like, I just want to jam pack these books beginning, middle, and end.
Cool. Yeah. I just, you know, how do you beat a speedster? You know, like you said, you need another speedster. I think that's like the problem with like the Flash comics is everybody's a speedster. Flash TV shows, everybody else is a speedster, because like, what are you going to do? You know, he could throw 16 punches at you before you blink. You know what I mean? You threaten him before you finish the words, you're defeated.
There's certain powers that could match that energy, but we have yet to see that in this world. I definitely have things in store that, it's never going to be, no one's too overpowered. Like there's always going to be something better, like how it is in life. There's always going to be something. And I'm really trying to build it up the right way too. Like, like we do have, he's the leader, he's the speedster, and then he has other characters too that are also really high level and strong. We've been building to these moments, and you're actually going to see why even before he gets tanked out. So really he's tanked out in episode 0. He has big, heavy armor. He has all this gear. In episode 6, we see him stripped down from all of that. And we see who he really was prior to 2090.
Like the only things that could take him out would be like a super invulnerable guy, so he's just sitting there punching and punching and punching, and it doesn't hurt. Or
there's no invulnerable guy either.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Everyone has like the closest thing.
The closest thing we had was Odysseus, who was my equivalent to a Superman. He got whopped.
So I think like a ghost-like character that he just can't physically touch, and you don't have any of them. And then the last would be a mentalist who like a Xavier who could do something from a distance, because unless the mentalist can think faster than Crimson Pain, then he's toast also. So I mean, it's clever. I like this kind of stuff, Of course, you see every Friday night we talk about who would win in a fight. So this is fun for me.
We think very similar on a lot of things, and like it's just funny
those,
that you're
Paul. Let me just say, for those of you who watch, Paul and I stayed up to like midnight when I was out of work. I was texting him like, "Is this gonna happen?" What I mean? I'm into it, and I like Paul's answer. Some of them you'd like, John, do you really want an answer for that? No, don't tell me.
Yeah, you like where your brain's going of like what could stop him. Stay tuned. It's like there's definitely things coming, and we're really building up. Like volume 1 was really like, okay, armor, characters, fight scenes, this is the world. And now volume 2, we're really building up the story with still including what everyone loves in volume 1. And I feel like it really sets the stage, this volume 2, of like what really everyone's in store for, because it's not what the beginning was, So like we have to amp it up. In the first one, 90 million people died. In episode 5, shit hit the fan that we're not going to spoil, but now we're going to see what made him hit the fan. You know what I mean? So like, definitely is not going to be something fun. The guy definitely didn't lose the ticket in Disney World. You know what I mean?
Right.
He's definitely.
And again, these are like some of the questions that I asked Paul, and Paul was like, do you really want the answer to that? I'm like, no, don't tell me. But I like speculating and trying to figure out, like, one of the things, and again, don't tell me if I'm right or wrong. It just shows you what I'm thinking. But things aren't what they seem. I think there's like Crimson Pain doesn't get an army unless he has some sort of valid point. Like Dr. Doom just builds robots because nobody's going to follow that lunatic. You know what I mean? Magneto has a point, so that's why he has like a fanatical audience. Thanos, he just recruits the biggest scum in the universe to follow him that have no regard for. But Crimson Pain doesn't have robots. He doesn't have. Well, maybe he does. I don't know. But he doesn't. He doesn't have scumbag aliens. And he doesn't have like an oppressed minority. So there has to be something going on. Again, I'm dancing around because I don't want to spoil it for anybody. That he has some sort of valid point, and that kind of makes him even a bigger threat. Because I'm starting to think like your main team, they're starting to realize that things aren't on the up and up either. Am I wrong?
Yeah, that's definitely at least where Omega's mind's at. In episode 4, he wants to confront the prime minister who used to be a good friend of his.
Right.
He's definitely seeing through cracks, and it's all about perspective, right? Because it's just who's in perspective. Like, we've never seen Crimson Pain hold any emotion. And in episode 5, I made sure to include that you saw he cared for someone. Like, there was someone that he actually did have care for, even though they're maybe monstrous, So like, he definitely has some sort of feelings. He's definitely a grade A piece of shit for sure. But like, it's all about perspective, and it's all about consequences too. Like, I'm making sure even episode 5, which we just had, that those last 10 pages are having repercussions forever. Like, it's just, they're wearing those scars. The consequences are real. If the gas comes out, there's consequences to that. It's, because, everything's a because,
Right.
and that's why I think
And the good guys, they're starting to get annoyed because they're like, we're going to take this guy out. We got to, you know what I mean? Like they're making tactical errors because their emotions are getting them. Like they've been physically hurt. They've been emotionally hurt by Crimson Pain and Banshee and all the other guys that they just want to take them out. Like they're not, hold on, let's wait for orders. Let's do this tactically. Like they're already gone because, they're like chomping at the bit, which I find to be realistic,
Yeah, like Omega, especially in episode 5, he's very confident. He's very confident. You see other characters getting weak from the death. You see characters that love the death, and that's how it is in war in general. There's soldiers that, love doing what they do. There's soldiers that this is my day job. There's soldiers that, you get PTSD. Like there's all different things that can happen from the same perspective. And that's why I feel like we have a good cast of characters to show you different perspectives. And when we add characters in, like we added Voltage and Imperium in Volume 2, they're definitely going to play a part later on too. Everything's going to have purpose. And I feel like another reason why I made this part of the origin now is because it fits the volume, it fits the story, it fits season 1. You need all this information for the first 2 volumes. And it really fulfills it, because there's a lot of, yes, I'm putting out 3 to 4 books a year. But, I really want it full for people. So people that have been with us, I released my first book in 2020, 2021, and then 2021, we released another one. And then 2022, we did 2 books, and now we've been doing 3. The people that have been with me since the beginning, it's been some time for them. So now we got to, start getting to some good stuff as we're building and as getting new readers on. This book is highly new reader friendly. I try to make every single issue have a beginning, middle, and end. Episode 4 and 5 were kind of like a pair, and 2 and 3 were kind of like a pair, but 0 and 1 are really on its own thing. Like, yes, there's things that move on, but I'm trying to make, there's times where we do a 2-part, and there's times where this is the whole story. Let's get a whole story in here, and then we'll move on to the next that will still continue what's going on in this world.
Yeah, I think it was the last campaign I backed and got everything, and I sat here in this chair and I just read the whole everything up in one shot, and then I immediately started messaging you, talking about it. It was a lot of fun. When I don't know about you, but the older you get, you start to forget details. So this was like I had like the best experience, just like issue 0, right in order, all the way up. And speaking of which, I got it back number 6. Sometimes I forget to back and then I get embarrassed. But here's your campaign over here on Kickstarter. So let's check this out. I'm gonna play this trailer, right? It's not gonna get me in trouble, right? Some people.
Everything's mine.
Okay, so let's see. How do I do this now? I gotta hit this button.
Welcome to our 10th Kickstarter campaign, Project Naosis, Episode 6, a 28-page full-color comic book following the origin story of our main supervillain, Crimson Pain, a super-enhanced speedster looking for vengeance for what was done to him. Find out why he killed 90 million people and all the superheroes that existed. In this world, there is no multiverse or do-overs, so what you see is what you get, and the stakes have never been higher. Join us on Project Naosis Episode 6 and make history. If you're new, we have catch-up tiers available with over 200 pages of story, 276 pages if you want to go crazy. And we also have exclusives on the campaign with a 100-copy exclusive of our Virgin variant of Project Naosis Episode 6 Cover A. If you're looking to go even wilder, we have a customized character splash page where you could work with the creator, Paul Thayer, and design a character which will be featured on a splash page in this book. Now, find the pledge that works best for you and join us, and let's make history. This is Indie Comics. This is Project Naosis.
Cool.
Good trailer, right?
Yeah, it's a good trailer. How does the if I wanted to get in there and make my character in the page, like I always think about stuff like that. Have you gotten takers yet? Is it
so? I've done on my first campaign. I did one that was $500, and we did that. And then I did one that was we've done like 3 of them already, where I get 2 to 6 people buying it. So right now, no one bought this one, but We've done it. That's the double page splash that I showed. That was one that we did. We did a double page splash, and only 2 people did it. So they got 2 double pages, and I threw them in the background. One of Hell Satan Banshee fighting in the background. That was that page.
Yeah, it looks like Crimson Pain's got a more streamlined costume than his first appearance.
Yeah. So if you scroll up real quick, so right now to that first page, that one right there.
Yeah, that is awesome.
This is interior pages from the book, and right now we're diving into the perspective of Crimson Pain in his past, and that's Crimson Pain. He was teased in episode 1 in this armor, and now he's there. So
okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So this is the armor that he was in. And if you scroll down, they're showing you kind of like a way of 2 paths, right? You see Odysseus, the man he fought in episode 0, and you see him, and you see them next to each other. So there's clearly something going on, but there's clearly different routes these 2 took. Yeah. And with those 2 routes, there's consequences. And if you scroll down, you see the original Project Naosis team, Project Naosis 2, which was in episode 1, was a teaser of this file that Omega found. Omega is doubting the government because he found this file showing that he wasn't the first team to do
that's
this.
What I was hinting at. I didn't want to spoil it, but you can spoil your own stuff.
Yeah, we're going. Me and you are, like I said, I'm a casual on here now, so now we're just going in. So
I love this part, by the way.
You're gonna find out this issue if you just buy episode 6, and you can. There's a beginning, there's a middle, there's an end.
I love this page right here. This reminds me of Invincible. Ryan Otley is at the, like I said, your comic is the best of Image. In a perfect world, your comic would be selling right there next to Battle Beast and Spawn right on the shelf.
We can strive for that one day.
Yeah. Guys, I'm gushing over this book. It is good. If you like superheroes, would it be fair to say it's a good marriage of superheroes and sci-fi?
Yeah. So I call it superhero sci-fi. Like it is.
Yeah,
like
I think that's perfect.
It's Blade Runner, it's Invincible, it's X-Men, it's Spider-Man 2099. It's like a mash, and most importantly, it's real life shit. Like it is G.I. Joe and Cobra. You know what I mean? Like it is getting to that level too.
Yeah, it's superheroes as a military squad.
Yeah, and there is other superheroes. Like as you saw in this volume, there's Voltage, there's Imperium, there's other people that are coming out of the shadows that weren't part of the Guild of Titans, which was the team that Crimson Pain killed, which was the world's quote unquote heroes. That was the team that saves the world. If you scroll up, cover A. Cover A is done by our interior art team. That's Samuel Marquis, Prasad Rao. That's Crimson Pain causing absolute havoc. And it's one of my favorite covers we ever did. We put it on a t-shirt, Virgin cover. It's going to be fresh to death.
You can tell me that you show that at a convention, people are going to be interested in that. That is awesome.
Yeah, it's on my shirt. I got a Nike shirt made with it. And then if you scroll down, Igor, he's doing Lethal Leopard with me. He done some concept art with me. We're building another book together. We did this cover. It's Crimson Pain, and it's the debut cover of Electrite, who's in this book, who made a quick cameo in one of the other books. And then our cover C.
What's the female's name?
Electrite.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Electrite.
And then somebody over here, poor guy who's getting brained.
Poor guy. And Crimson Pain, look, tight armor. There's multiple entryways, like different Crimson Pain. American flag on the side of his head. There's no America. This is still the Americas and these other nations. Then we have the Virgin cover. So single issues are always $10, guys. Digital is $6. The variant cover is $15, and there's only going to be 100 printed. I usually never reprint the variant covers anyways, and sometimes I do little sneaks for my backers, and I'll give you a great example, which is kind of a secret, which I said it once before, but so on Project Naosis episode 5, I did the VCAN Marion cover, and I removed the episode 5 to make it look like a video game just for the Kickstarter backers. So I never announced it, but so if you have that, you're going to have a book that's a 1 of 75, and then I'm printing the other ones with the episode 5.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So I do cool stuff like that, and I don't end up, I really don't reprint a lot of things, and then if we do, the logos change and stuff like that, so what you guys get is really what you get, but I usually never reprint a variant cover. It's the best cover that sells at conventions, and then we keep that one and move on with that one for the bigger print runs.
Yeah.
So this is only going to be 100 print. This one right here, Virgin cover. I think it's fresh. I'm keeping one for myself. And there's going to be 99 others. So like
Yeah.
I said, $6
I keep
digital.
one of everything that I make for myself too. It's I put it in my comic book box right next to all my other comic books. Like look,
I sold a lot of this stuff. I kept some things, some variant covers, but there's some variant covers I don't have and I will never have.
Oh, really? You don't have some of your own variant covers? I couldn't live with myself. I'm too much.
The Mickey Mouse, the Steamboat. Oh, I almost got killed. The Steamboat Willie one that we did, and then the other ones like I did some Virgin ones that I maybe did a 1 of 50, stuff like that. Like when I was doing conventions, I would print a lot. I did a black and white New York Comic Con episode 1 that I only printed 50 of. We do cool stuff. And then, so if you want one cover, 10, you want the variant, 15. If you want both covers, A and B, it's 20. If you want all 3, it's 30. Digital, if you want 200 pages of content, a lot of people get this one that end up seeing me at cons. If you want to get the books in person, that's awesome. But try out our books through digital. I ship everything right to you. 200 pages of story. You get Project Naosis 0 to 6 for only $25. Steal. And then, like I said, all 3 covers, 30. And then if you want it in physical, it's 200 pages of story for $60. So my trades, you look at my trades when you order them, even the ones I did on Kickstarter, they say $50 on them. I sell them at $50 at conventions. On my website, I put them at 40 to 50. The variant covers are always 50. And you're getting these Kickstarters, you're getting 200 pages, you're getting the trade, you're getting episode 4, episode 5, and episode 6 for $60. You're paying $10 more than what I was charging the first year we had it when we released it. And, I'm trying to get the most content out as possible. We did 30 for the Kickstarter that we did. But yeah, they're always 50. And then 276, if you want to go bananas, you get both covers. You get 5, you get 4 or 5, you get the trade. You get Crimson Pain one shot, which is beginning, middle, and end of Crimson Pain causing absolute tyranny. And then you have Omega 2090, which is the prequel story, which is a soldier mission that ties into the main plot that gives you Omega's origin and some other characters.
Yeah, I every time I read the issue, I said, "Oh, that was my favorite issue yet." And then I read the new one, I'm like, "Oh, that was my favorite issue yet," which I think is a good thing that you want to hear as the writer, right? That it's better and better.
Did you like episode 5 more than the other ones?
Yeah, I did. Every 4 was my favorite, and then I read 5, and then 5 was my favorite. So I can only imagine 6 will be better.
And before that, you loved Omega 2090. You thought was the best.
Yeah, I liked Omega. Yeah.
So yeah, I think 4 I really perfected a lot of things. And then like 5 was been a dream, and that was another thing too. Like they weren't supposed to fight Crimson Pain to a certain point, but I was thinking of this crazy fight scene. Like they need to be fighting in the sky, like the Black Widow movie, and like aircrafts and shit, like just do crazy because there's no budget, right? So like you can have a crazy idea, but you can make it the next level. And then when you give it to an artist, it's already the next level after that because they're going to take it a whole nother way.
Yeah.
And I feel like Samuel did this really well, and he made this book really well. So we're having a lot of fun.
Yeah. First time read. Okay. Yeah. And I'll vouch for you. Your comics come quick, they're quality printed, they're good comics all around. I'm talking about just the printing, the feel. And you're never late. Your comics come out on time. They got a decent price.
Scroll down a little bit and show that cover.
Oh, which one? This?
Yeah, that right there. Yeah, leave it there. So they see they know.
Yeah, like because I have you ever heard this? Because a few people. Well, I mean, you're at 10 campaigns now, so you probably don't hear this. But I had a few people reach out to me like, "Yeah, your book looked good, and I wanted to back it, but I don't back first time campaigns." Well,
and I've grown with everyone. Like our first one we did was 50 backers, and the last one we did, I'm pretty sure was 145 or 150. Off the top of my head, I don't know. And we're definitely going to beat that this one.
Yeah. You got a good reputation now. The point that I'm saying is I got people now reaching out to me like, "Oh, I'm backing your second campaign because your first one was well received. You were on time. You actually had a product. It wasn't just throwing money into a shredder." So, I'm trying to tell the people why. We got a lot of people watching that Paul delivers. Got some good stuff.
How many we got watching? How many people we got watching?
Right now I can see we're up to 75.
Nice. Yeah. Back Project Naosis, you get high-end books. I do the con scene. I'm on the grind. I've been doing this full-time for a year, really in this business for 2 years, but been writing comics for about 5. And we're ready, man. I'm ready. We had a great weekend at WonderCon, which was in Anaheim, California. We made a great impact, and then we're at AwesomeCon this weekend in DC, and then the weekend after, I'm in C2E2. Your boy is hustling. Your boy's hustling. I'm doing even streams on the weekend when I'm at the convention. Like, we're trying to make this the biggest thing possible, and I just think, the eyes just need to be on it, and when more eyes are on it, we'll get what we've been building up for.
When are you coming to New York next?
I don't. The next one in Jersey is Garden State. No, we have Super Jersey at the end of the month too. You know what that one is?
No.
Yeah, so there's one in South Jersey that's this month that they have 2 days, and they have a pretty good guest list. And then I'm doing Garden State. I don't think I'm doing any in New York until New York Comic Con.
Okay.
Yeah, there's not a lot of New York.
Gotta hook up with Comic Con then.
Yeah, New York's where it's at. I sometimes do the Hot Flips one in Babylon.
Oh, let me know when you go in there. I'm 15 minutes away.
Yeah, I did that one a couple months ago. The next one's in April this weekend, and I'm going to be gone. And I got to see when the next one is. But I'm getting in a lot of conventions. I'm getting asked to go to conventions now, which is cool. And then we're just trying to stack it up, dude. But I'm ready. I'm really all in, So I'm really trying to make a great comic series and just keep building it up. And I'm in for 35 issues. Like, we're getting to this ending, and right now, there's going to be more things being introduced, and we're building up a story, and it's like an HBO show or an anime. It's just going to keep going until it ends.
Oh, cool. So, yeah, and you definitely have an ending planned.
Yeah. The ending is the beginning, in my sense, in a sense of I could end it there, or it could be something else. But the whole point is, I thought of a concept, and I thought the concept was way too complicated. I thought it would be too much for readers. It'd be too much for me as a first-time reader, saying if I read a number 1 from it, too much lore. Because I feel like when you go into a book and there's so much lore going on, you could lose a lot of people. You could lose me, So I made it grounded enough where it is now that as long as we just keep moving towards that direction of where it's going to go, people will be ready for it. And we could do what we do with Saga and stop at 35 and come back later, or maybe we'll just go right to something new.
I know we talked about this, but for my first comic book was going to be Info Dump the comic. I had so much lore in it, and then my early readers were just like, I don't care about any of this. Just imagine, like, you want to go to a movie tonight? Here, read the Silmarillion before we go. I'm like, no, I don't want to. I don't care about this. So yeah, you did the right thing. Scaled it back. Made you care about the individual characters, and that's the trick. If you don't care about the characters, then you don't care about what happens to them. You don't care about the story or the world.
Yeah, like volume 1, I would say, who Crimson Pain is, who Omega is, and who Lithium is, the younger brother, and then Hybrid and Valerie Vega are like the other two you really know. Now this volume, you're getting new characters. You're following Omega a little more, and you're now following Crimson Pain a little more, So like I try to do, it's the same thing if you watch any other show. Sometimes an episode goes off and you're following the villain, you're following the sidekick, you're following one of the henchmen. And that's what I want to try to do with this as we build this world. Because this really is a world book versus this is the main character book, Yeah,
it's an ensemble team. Yeah. It's not Omega and friends. It's everybody.
Yeah, like this book, I would say Crimson Pain and Omega are the main characters in this book. And then, the books prior, I thought Hybrid made a big impact in the first volume. And I just want to keep building that up as we're building them, because you have to dive deep on some of these characters for you to care. Exactly. And then you want to add more in as you're building them, because originally, like I said, it was supposed to be 12 issues. There's too many characters for it to be 12 issues to make it worth anything. Because if I get to the ending and you don't care, who gives a fuck? You know what I mean? So like, you have to really build up these characters and rip it all down,
So I forget if we were talking before we went live or you said this live, but who's the breakout character? Who do the fans like the most?
I would say it's either 60-40 Crimson Pain Omega, or it's like 55-40. It's close. It's close. This last poll I did, I would honestly say it was like 54% Crimson, and the other 46% was Omega. And then let's say if that was 100, then 5% was everybody else. You know what I mean? Like everybody else would just be a mix. I'd hear Hellsate, Lithium, Prince Euro, Vantage, Voltage, like people have their different characters. A lot of people like Hybrid. A lot of people like Thorn. Everyone has their people, but like we're only going to take focus on more like certain characters if it moves the story forward. Like it's not, there is no side quest here. Even though if I branch out and do different ideas, it's information you're going to need for the story, so
Crenshaw said Omega and Friends is the kids animated show from Amazon. The kid friendly version.
Yeah. I'm too deep with the gore. Look at that. He's drawing blood things on the walls. This guy's crazy. So it's like, we're at that limit. I'm definitely gonna do, like, if we do other characters, yeah, it could be less gruesome at times. But it's a lot of action. If you like Mortal Kombat, if you like Invincible, that's the type of action. I really take a lot of inspiration from Mortal Kombat. I think that was like one of my favorite games ever, and that's how I see the fighting for this. Like when I'm watching it in my brain, I see Mortal Kombat fighting.
Do you choreograph the fights like through script, or do you draw like pencils or stick figures and stuff?
I write what happens, and then I always write what the splashes and detail on what we need to achieve. Like how we had that awesome Crimson Pain duck under going super fast into the double punch up through the guy. So I'm trying to mix it up too.
You picture it in your head like a little movie or cartoon, and then try to
that I envisioned precisely. That's exactly what I wanted. Like I wanted it to be like, Omega was punching, but he was already under him. He's going to the next guy and he's ready to, because that's how it would be. I'm good at seeing the fight scenes. It's hard for me to do talking layouts, kind of, like sometimes I help Samuel and I'll draw like a shitty sketch of what the page should look like. But he's really good at doing the panels in a dynamic way.
Because I know from Temptation, and I know from other people, like the fight scenes, they're just like, and then they fight 2 pages of fight. Like that's what the writer will tell the artist, and let the artist. I don't know. Like
mine's like, like literally like duck under, winding up to the double upper punch, swinging up, and like, or like the other one, it was like I explained like what was exploding in the background and what he was holding out his fist for, sending the blast, like all the beginning and ends. I write it all out vividly, and then how we get there, of course, if the artist sees something different, that's cool. But I really try to give as much detail with the fighting stuff on like what's hitting what, because it has to flow.
Right,
into a fight scene. Like I watch a lot of UFC. Like that's like actually my only thing I watch, and wrestling, like for like sports wise. And you see, how it plays out. And especially with wrestling, you see the choreographed stuff and like how things would play out in a certain way. I definitely use that like when I'm writing too. Like I really think of like, even sometimes like before I write a fight scene, I'll either watch a dope fight scene or I'll be playing Mortal Kombat. Or like I'll play a UFC, like what would look cool, because we have to mix it up. Episode 0, spine rips. Can't do spine rips every one, like there's, and then I had Crimson for one, he pulled it through the, and then slammed it, like you have to do different ones. That is insane, because he's scary, he's a very scary person. If I saw Crimson Pain, I'd shit myself and try to kill myself before he kills me. Because you just know
he'd probably get you before you did that, because that's how fast he is.
Yeah, and especially what he's capable of doing. But I really think, this is a big Kickstarter. This is already, so just for cover A's. So on the last campaign was our biggest campaign ever. We raised the most money, most backers, most everything. This one, we're already breaking all the records, most money raised in the first day, second day, etc. And we had just on cover A's. So of course you can buy different tiers where there is cover A's. But just for, if you just wanted cover A, on the last campaign, we sold 25 books. I think right now we're at 31, and we still have 17 days left of just cover A's.
Yeah, I got it back. I didn't back yet, so I'm not going to do it live. I don't need people seeing my credit card information.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And I'm really trying to build this one up,
Let me ask you another question then. Do you design the costumes, or you leave that to the artist?
I did the concept art before I even brought these to the artist.
Cool.
So
cool.
like meaning like so that's what I do personally, at least for the main cast. And I do this when I'm getting hired with other people that have me look for teams. I make sure the concept art's done with a different artist, just because I don't want to hear, you hear it all the time. Like, oh, I made this or I made this. No, if I do all the designs and I get you there and I do all the pictures and everything, and now you sketch it out for me, like it's mine. You know what I mean? So like I have a lot of it done, and I'm really good in the sense of like, during the stages, we get like 4 stages of each. Sometimes I have 6, and then I get down to 1, and then we change a lot of things on that 1 to make it work. I really make sure my my input is really in everything. There's certain things that the artist can get credit for. Like I would give certain things, but like some of them might straight up sketch. Like Thorn, I straight up sketch that whole thing, that character, like that exact design. I have the sketch for it. Crimson Pain, I have something similar, that I sketched out. But otherwise, it's having that good artist too, that like once you give them all the supplies of a script and, looking up images and textures, and they really make it into art, but then you have to collaborate to, like make it work. But I have someone do every step of the way. Like I'm there every step. I just can't draw for shit. So
yeah, me too. I wish I could draw.
But I make the beginning and the final say, and we really meshed down on Imperium. Like Samuel did the concept art for Voltage and Imperium, but like I said, we go through 6 alterations, then down to 2, then down to color schemes, and everything is decided by me, and where things will go.
Cool. Yeah. I that's what I do. I draw horrible drawings of my characters, and I scan them and send them to Renzo, and then he polishes up that it's pretty accurate to what I drew out, except good. So
you also have to find the right guy. Like I did some concept art for Lethal Leopard with Igor. He's the guy who's he did one of my covers, and he does concept. He does a lot of art for Rippaverse, and when we made Lethal Leopard, that character, he'll send me 4 different body types. Then we go from the body types. We did like I do it as like when you're creating a character in a video game. You got your options, you choose.
Oh, really?
Layers.
It's funny because I know we had this talk before, and I talk about this a lot. Like, let me change it up a bit. When you come up with the character, what is the first thing you come up with?
The
like,
power.
do you come up with the name? Do you start with the powers?
Yeah.
So what is it like?
Power?
Okay, so I can imagine Crimson Pain. You must have been like, I'm trying to recreate your thinking process. All right, this guy's got to be a badass villain. What is a badass power? Speed. Nobody could touch him. So is that how you worked Crimson Pain, and then came up with a name and a concept of how he looked?
So like Crimson Pain was like the 4th character I made, but the first concept art I did. So like it was, I thought of Omega, I thought of Lithium. I really wanted the brothers. Like that was the main thing, was like the brothers, their journey. And then I thought of the team, who would be in the team, from powers to faces to armor. I definitely did faces second. Like what they look like, and then same with Crimson Pain, but like I thought, like if I had a team of 6 or 7 and these are all their powers, who would be someone that could kick their ass? Like that's how you have, otherwise what's the point? Like what's the point to an extent, because Superman can win everything, people still buy Superman, but like what could beat them? I also think of like
Superman is the exception, though. You know what I mean? Superman is the exception that proves the rule, if you ask me. But people love Batman because there's supposedly a real threat. Although Batman these days can beat up anybody with.
Crimson Pain would dismantle Batman in seconds.
Right.
Superman would kick his ass.
Yeah.
But
there's
Superman.
No shame in getting that. Superman. People ask me who would win in a fight, the Patriarch or Superman. I'm like, Superman.
So yeah, Superman. No Batman ain't winning shit. Superman would kick his ass, and then.
So when you have the team of 6, do you like, okay, I need a strong guy, I need a lightning guy, I need, like.
I go off first, like what's cool.
Okay.
So like what's cool and what also hasn't been done. I personally think, excluding Dragon Ball Z, I think energy powers weren't done at all, and they still aren't, done the right, like done a certain way. Energy's used differently.
Oh,
I think
tell
I
me
used
about
the
it. As an electrician, I criticize anybody who has an electrical character. So I'm watching you, Paul.
and voltage is red electric. I don't think anyone has red electric.
You know what I
that's
mean? But
usually-
people don't understand how electricity really works, and I get annoyed.
voltage shocks the metal. He knows how to work it. And then yeah, and like I really went with the powers first. Like it was like the powers and also the name, but the name's also changed. Like I'm trying to think on because I haven't thought about it in so long.
Yeah, I'm sorry to put you on the spot, but this I like this stuff, like superhero creation is like
like I like and then that was too like Odysseus wasn't made until after I made the first 6 issues. Like so like I needed also something it's like, okay, Crimson Pain, why would you be scared of him? Give him a Superman type character. Let's show what he can do to these costume guys, like a Mr. Fantastic, a Wonder Woman, a Superman. If I ever do another spinoff for Crimson Pain, I do want to go full with that. Like it was going to be, if we do it, it'll be like more of what you saw in episode 0, in Omega 2090, of his angles of that. Because there was different types of superheroes, and I like playing around with it, like on who would win. Because I think it's the same thing. I love Injustice too. I love that video game. I didn't read the comic, but I love the video game. And I liked how things could match up and who would really win. And I really don't see like certain things that I'm trying to do with it. So like I don't think there's anyone with spike projectiles like that. Like the closest is Baraka from Mortal Kombat, but he doesn't it's different, so it's like I try to put a twist on everything. And then even hybrid, he can heal but not fast. He's not Wolverine. You don't know if
that drives me nuts. The original Wolverine, like he would get cut or stabbed and you'd see it would affect him for like an issue or two. Now it's just like godlike. He just heals,
like hybrid had to go through like a whole hour fight scene and recuperating as you slowly see him heal through every panel. Like, but he's never been tested where he has lost a limb or came close to death. So I'm still playing with that too, because if you have to build
think
for
about
those
that
things.
In real life. You could regenerate, Paul. We're gonna cut off your arm to see if it regrows. But what if it doesn't?
Yeah, exactly. So like, why would he's not going to test that out, especially if he's good. And they have armor. That's the point too. Like you're not going to see one of these guys, get their ass kicked without armor on. They die. Like a great example is Rifter too. Rifter was in episode 1. He was in this unit. We're about to see where he was before, but he's shirtless, but there is those people. There is people that, oh, I'm so fucking good that I could be shirtless. Like I'm a telekinetic. Why would I be in armor? And then you saw what happened to him. He got fucking whopped. But it took 6 guys to beat him. So it's like, what pairing could beat Crimson Pain? Because right now you saw 2 energy and spike projectiles. Barely put a dent on my boy. So we're gonna see. It's not. There's a lot of opportunity and there's definitely a lot of time to build. Like a lot of these pages in this book, I wrote recently. Like I wrote it in the last 6 months. Pages that are in this book, and everything else is mapped out. Till 35 issues. But I'm not afraid to change things to make the story better. If something that's in episode 26 works better in 9, we're doing it. It needs to flow and have value. Because if I don't want filler. It needs to be consequences, reality. Let's fucking go. And that's Rifter. I mean, not Rifter. That's Vantage up there. It's Vantage. He was captured in the volume 2, and you saw what Omega did to him. And it's all about perspective. Like our Prince Hero in episode 4. He was like, oh, I know my heroes are up to good, nothing but good. And then you see what they're really doing. Because it is perspective. It's the same way America is seen in certain countries as animals and certain as their heroes, and we see them as heroes, and other people see them as monsters. So it's like it's all down to perspective and who's sitting where.
I say when I'm coming up with the superhero, it's that I gotta like a name. Like I'll be reading something, watching TV, or I'll be at work, and I'll hear a word, somebody will say something, whatever, and I'm like, that would make a good superhero name. And now that I have my phone, remind me at 6 o'clock, because I'm usually home at 6 o'clock, and then I'll write it down into my journal, and then from the name, everything else comes out. So But at the same time, there's like, if I'm going to assemble a team, I don't want, these are all great names that make good super, but they're all super strong. Like that's kind of redundant on a team. So,
And also with Project Naosis too, it's at least these characters are not, at least what they're in their team, they're not superheroes. They're a team. Their names are code names. They're not calling it because they really think my name's Titan Boy. It's Lithium and Omega, so nobody knows what we're doing.
Right. It's like call signs in what movie is that? Why like the Tom Cruise plane movie? Why am I blanking out? You know what I mean? They're a military unit and they're using call signs so people aren't going, hey, Paul Thayer, who lives at 1416 Mockingbird Lane,
Yeah, like in Omega 2090, he goes, don't call me that anymore. Call me Omega, and she's Hellsate. Like, that's it. Like, we're code names when we're in armor. Like, leave me alone. And Omega's been strict with that. And you haven't really seen him do that unless he sees something bad where he would break from that system. But like, I want those things to matter. And it is. And even Crimson Pain, Pain is a real last name. Crimson is not. But, so like, we're finding that out.
It's spelled like Thomas Paine, rather than like P-A-I.
Yeah. Like Pain is his last name, and Crimson is just he's Crimson. He wants you to know he's fucking there, dude.
Right.
Like he.
There's a reason he's dressed in Pull Me Over Reds. He wants to be noticed.
Yeah, he's in a chromy, thing that like he's ready to, kick some ass, and he's the scariest thing. Like, if Jason was in that, you'd be like, fuck, you know what I mean? Like, that's how I want it, to be with the powers. Like, he's the apex, and we'll see how the team also handles the last issue. If you go to page from the last issue spoiler, click that.
Oh, what?
On the left side, you can click it and it just jumps all the way to it. Pages from the last issue spoiler. Boom. No, down to
right there. Okay, duh.
Yeah, click that. Boom, and scroll down. So this is on page 14, guys. So you're seeing a double page splash from 14, and you're seeing Omega, Thorn, and Lithium fight Crimson Pain and see him for the first time. I included this, and there's 8 more pages after I showed this spoiler. This is just a fraction of what was in episode 5, with story, with world building. And he blasts half of Thorn's face off. That's a crazy double page, and I showed that to say, hey, there's 8 more pages just in episode 5. And I'm doing this too because it's show me the money. What am I getting? And you're getting this nonstop. There's another one that happens in a couple more pages that's even crazier, so it's like we amp it up. And I want it to be like that movie scene, like I love Thanos and Hulk in the beginning. You know what I mean? Of Avengers, when Hulk, he's like, we have a Hulk, and he comes down and he starts fucking him up. That made an impact. I want all my fight scenes to have an impact, unless they're with minions.
Too bad what the Hulk turned into in the Marvel universe,
Well, he's not in the next one, so.
What's that?
He's not in the next one. Hopefully the Russo brothers do really well with She-Hulk. Like, they can redeem her if they do certain things.
They got to redeem a lot of the Marvel characters.
Right? Is she in it or no?
I'm sorry?
Is She-Hulk in it? I don't
know. I don't know. I as bad as this sounds, I don't pay attention to the Marvel movie news anymore because.
So they have Fox characters, they have the Avengers, and they have the Thunderbolts and the Fantastic Four in the new one.
Yeah. And everybody but Spider-Man, because he's getting a new movie, brand new day.
Yeah, because, and I saw a good theory. It was because no one knows who he is. So maybe if Doctor Doom brings them to a multiversal thing, he's not taking Spider-Man, because Spider-Man, who's Spider-Man? We don't know who Spider-Man is. That was the thing he did with Doctor Strange. So maybe we're going to be in a world exactly brand new day where he's the only superhero. Because I see them going to Battle World. They're going to do that. And then they have to stick with certain characters. That's why Daredevil works. If you haven't watched Daredevil, watch that shit, the new one. It's in its own thing, but it's in the MCU. Yes. Do they show little cool cameos? Yeah, but it benefits the story. Like, a great example in that, they do have Kamala Khan's dad in there, but he's the guy in the bank, in this bank scene with Daredevil. Like, it works. Like, like there's certain ways to do things. And I feel like Daredevil's really acing that. And I think Invincible really aces that.
Did you read the Invincible comics?
I'm up to I read the first giant size hardcovers. I'm up to where the beginning of the season was. I never read the Invincible War, so I'm not I'm not reading it until the show comes out, or I might go a season ahead. Like I read those 4 and then watched this season. So I had a little information that happened, but I didn't get up to the Invincible War. So it's like good to see. I like seeing it. If I'm going to see it in live action, I'd rather see it in live action if it's coming out, you know, versus reading it, especially if it's a year away or 2 years away. Like the Invincible is already 20 years old. Like, you know, what's another year to read it, you know, but
Yeah.
I'll read it after.
It was good. I like. To me, it held up all the way to the end. I was one of those people because I was collecting Walking Dead. So when I heard he was doing a superhero comic, I was like, naturally, I just got. And that was funny because issue 7 was the big reveal about Omni-Man. So for 6 issues, I'm like, this is good. But it's like, what if Spider-Man had Superman powers? It was just like a teenager, you know. So for 6 months, I just bought it, and then the 7th issue, you find out about Omni-Man, and I was hooked, you know. But I almost stopped collecting it. And in the TV show, they showed Omni-Man his real personality right away. I thought that was a smart, because people would have dropped it if they waited 3 or 4 episodes, you know.
Yeah, and that's why I kind of did this too. Like I heard that spiel, and he said he had to do this, he had to do that. It's true. It's like, just show me the thing. You know, just show me the stuff. And I feel like that's why Invincible works. Every episode is a movie. The majority of them, there's a couple fillers, but the last 3 episodes were 10, 10, 10, like of all they can possibly fucking do.
I didn't watch Daredevil yet because
watch it.
I'm just so like,
now watch
these Marvel things, and you're 4 episodes in, and then they start lecturing you.
No, you'll love it. No, it's so good. So I didn't know this because I was just talking to Andy about this earlier today. So I didn't know they shot 6 episodes the Disney way, and they reshot them with a whole new script and team or whatever to do this one. And this is insane. It's gory. It's insane.
Oh, Daredevil?
He's fighting a serial killer, dude. And he's like shoots through them. Like, it's crazy. The serial killer drains their blood, and they show it. Like, he's crazy, dude. Like, it's crazy show. I was
the original reports of Daredevil did not look good, and then I think they did reshoots. Yeah, I forgot about that.
And I didn't watch the Netflix stuff, so like I only watched The Punisher. So to see this, it's so good. It's so good. It's making me want to watch the Netflix stuff now.
No, I'll tell you, the Netflix Daredevil is the best thing Marvel put out, if you ask me.
No, but that's why I'm saying you should watch it. It's the same thing. It's the same thing, if not
they changed a few things. Like Elektra is not a Greek girl; she's like a Taiwanese girl. But the actress is so sexy and crazy looking. You buy it. You know, they made Elektra a psycho rather than like a girl out for revenge. Like the comic book Elektra, you could like, okay, I could get her point. But the TV show Elektra, you're like, no, she's that psycho ex-girlfriend that you're like, you just want to go out one more date with her and then say goodbye, but that one last date never happens. You just drawn into the sexy hotness. All guys fall into that trap.
I'm letting you know, if you watch the first 30 minutes of Daredevil, the first episode, you'll watch the whole season.
Yeah, I will. I'm waiting for it to end. And if
I wouldn't tell you it wasn't, just watch it, because it's cool to want something too. Like, I feel like that's another thing on why, you know, a lot of people, not saying me or you, like, we get it all at once. So, you know, it's different. Like, it was the same way, like, Val Kilmer died today, right?
Yeah.
Everyone didn't like that Batman movie, but I did when I was a kid. You know what I mean? I watched it probably 200 times.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So, like, it's like, you know, but, you know, like, and now that we have everything else sucks. You know what I mean? So it's like, Daredevil is fire. I would never tell you, like, it's the last episode too, I thought was perfect. Like, I was actually freaking out. I wanted to punch my TV, like, out of excitement. You know, like, I love it. I love what they're doing. They taken misses for sure. You know, and I thought Venom was the worst movie I ever saw in my fucking life. That Venom 3, worst movie I've ever seen in my life. And even for a superhero, everything, it was like the #1 movie that I hate the most. No, Madam Web sucked really bad too. That was really bad.
I didn't bother to see him. The last
Madam Web, they dubbed the guy's voice when they reshot it. So he's talking and he's saying a different sentence over it for certain scenes. It's insane. It looked bad.
Sony,
it looked Marvel. Bad. Listen, if you want to waste $100 million, come my way. Give me 20.
Can you believe
20.
They can't write a Blade movie? A Blade movie writes itself. Cool guy kills vampires.
Well, it was the Blade and the daughter. Then it was Blade.
Right. I don't care about Blade's daughter. I want to see Blade killing vampires. I want to see choreograph.
I would care about Blade's daughter because I read Blood Hunt and she was in it and I really liked it. But like it's the same thing about building, right? Make it its own thing. Blade 1, just give me Blade killing vampires. Okay, you can't do that for 5 movies because then it's James Bond or John Wick. Then add another element of another character.
John Wick is 4 movies with no plot, just killing, and it's awesome.
I love it so much.
I gotta get going now. I have another show at 8:30, so I'm gonna prepare for that. So anything that you didn't get a chance to say, anything you want to talk about before we go?
No, just back Project Naosis episode 6. It's the best book that I've put out. It's my 10th Kickstarter. I've fulfilled 9 Kickstarters, 2 Indiegogos, 1 from my comic. This is the 10th one. You're donating and pledging and pre-ordering to a guy that is on his shit, who's on the daily grind. I'm at a convention almost every weekend except for Easter weekend this month, and I'm going ham. I'm in San Diego Comic-Con, New York Comic-Con. I'm swinging, man. I'm the indie guy. I have no Marvel, DC cred, and I'm trying my best to build a company that is a comic book company that you're gonna read, enjoy, and know that you have a story that's not getting restarted. The comic series itself will never be restarted. Could there be another number ones? Yes, but it'll never be number one. And we say another story about what already happened. What happens has happened.
Yeah.
What is going to happen will happen, and we're just going to keep moving.
There's stakes, and there's real stakes.
Real stakes, because I don't got that type of time. There's no multiverse. There's none of that bullshit. There's no heaven and hell. I'll gladly say that on here too. There's no gods. There's no gods. No Thor's coming down to Grand Omega one last wish if he dies. He's dead if he dies. He's done. So join us.
All right. Thanks a lot, Paul. It's always good to talk to you. And I'm going to back your comic now, right before I go live with the same channel. RJ and Darkside are going to be here at 8:30 for comic book team up, and then it's bedtime for me. So see you, everybody. Thanks a lot. Good seeing you again, Paul. Bye. I'm going to play my trailer, and then we'll be out of here. If I should have had it queued up, but there you go. All right, see ya.